Hey guys, Andy from Estella's Revenge, and I'm here today with a review of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I'm sure everybody and their cousin have already read this book, but I'm kind of just now getting back to it. I read what I thought was all but like the last 30 pages about 10 years ago, but apparently I was wrong because as I was reading this, I remembered very little. Very little from like page 150 on. So if I did read further, this was still like a whole new reading experience for me. And I really enjoyed it. I picked this up because, number one, I bought this beautiful Penguin Deluxe Classics edition. But I'm also taking part in the September Eyre read-along. And so you can see I've got all my little sections posted that I need to write about. And I've already finished the book and I've already written all the posts. They just have to post over the rest of the month. So yeah, I really loved this book. I've always heard that it was kind of feminism ahead of its time. And I would definitely agree with that. Jane has a strong perspective when it comes to the equality of the sexes. I mean, she goes head to head with Mr. Rochester about that in particular. She really knows her mind. She's whip smart. She's just awesome. She's a great heroine. So yeah. The only real quibble that I had with that is the fact that still in this book, it seems like Jane ultimately finds happiness through marriage. And that seems like a little bit of a disappointment or a letdown after, you know, this struggle for her to gain equality and autonomy and all that stuff. I hope that's not a spoiler. I don't know, maybe it is. I think everybody probably knows that Jane finds love in this book. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you how exactly she gets there, or the twists and the turns that go along with it, but her end, the happy ending in this book, is her getting married. And so, yeah. But I guess you could argue that she only finds happiness through marriage once she has gained her own autonomy. So if I look at it from that perspective, I'm a little more okay with it from like a critical perspective. Just from a reader response perspective, I loved the book. It was very engaging. It was a quick read, comparatively speaking, to some other classics that I read. All of the characters were a lot of fun to get to know or get to hate, because there were quite a few unlikable characters in this book as well. I'm really interested in Charlotte Bronte as a writer because of this kind of women's equality standpoint. This book follows Jane from her childhood, from a time that she lives with her family, a really bitchy aunt and some horrible cousins, on through her time at a girls' boarding school, on through her time as a governess at Thornfield with Mr. Rochester, and then there is another kind of movement in Jane's life before it all comes to a conclusion. And that was really the part I did not remember. But following a character through their growing up experience, their coming of age, typically is labeled a Bildungsroman. That is the term. And it typically, a Bildungsroman follows a male character. And so for Charlotte Bronte writing at this time period, she kind of took on that form for herself and applied it to a female character. So even formalistically, it seems like she is really interested in putting males and females on a equal playing field. So yeah, I'm really just interested in her more as a writer now too, after reading this book. So I've ordered a copy of Villette, which I showed in a previous video, and I have no doubt that I will read more of Charlotte Bronte's work. I was a little iffy going into it, simply because I had not finished it before. I've read Wuthering Heights, old sister's work, and I was not a huge fan of it. Again, I was more interested in it on a formal level than I was in the characters, because they were all pretty horrible people. But this one struck a happier medium for me. I mean, I'm interested in the form, I'm interested in the writing and the structure and all of that stuff, which is a lot of fun for me as a former English major to plumb and discuss. But I also just found that this was a very likable novel. it was great. I was totally into it. There were times I was like, oh my god, like screaming at the characters. What are you thinking? And that's always a good sign. So, yeah, I really, really enjoyed Jane Eyre. It's been a lot of fun to discuss it. I hope I haven't spoiled anything for anyone. I'll put possible spoilers in the description, and if you're watching it now, it's too late. So, anyway, if you've read Jane Eyre, which I'm sure a number of you have, what did you think of it? I can't wait to read more Charlotte Bronte, and I'm sure that I will revisit this book in the future again, because give me a few years and I will have forgotten a lot of the details. So I hope you're all having a great day. I hope you're all doing tons of great reading, and I'll see you soon. Bye.